Welcome to the Calm Analytics channel. I'm Boris Tiesenghausen. May 8th, today's top news as of this minute. I read some comments from Russians this morning. General anxiety is rising. For example, Rostov probably hasn't been this scared the whole time as it was tonight. That glow and roar are still before my eyes. It's not the first comment like this. This has never happened before. All this must be stopped. And here's the reason. Russia's Rostov is under attack by unknown missiles today. A strike on one of the factories. Let's take a look. Since morning, a plume of white smoke has been rising over the city. Apparently, they've elected a pope at the factory. The fire is intensifying. Everything is going, as they say, according to plan. And here's a clarification. The Empils plant, a branch of the Radar Research and Development Center, took a hit from Ukrainian missiles today. Empils is one of the key chemical and paint factories in southern Russia, but not just for paint. The Radar Joint Stock Company is involved in the development and promotion of high-tech technologies. Its main area of activity is the development of special-purpose systems. Currently, the branch collaborates with many well-known companies and the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation. Well, but that's not all. In Perm, for the third time in 9 days, Lukoil Permnefteoxintes was attacked. It's just a giant refinery. Third time in 9 days. Russian air defense can't do anything. Also, drones arrived in Grozny today, sending regards to Ramzan Kadyrov and his entire family. Watch this. Now that was a real strike, when bam! And 13 airports all shut down at once. This is no joke. Due to a drone strike on the administrative building of the Southern Russia Air Navigation Branch, 13 airports have suspended operations. Operations have been temporarily suspended at the airports of Astrakhan, Vladikavkaz, Volgograd, Gelendzhik, Grozny, Krasnodar, Makhachkala, Magas, Mineralny Vody, Nalchik, Sochi, Stavropol, and Elista. Wow. It's a perfectly clear logic, I think. Airports in Ukraine aren't working, planes aren't flying, and they shouldn't be flying in Russia either. Basically, they hit the brain, just one of the central dispatch hubs. By the way, I don't rule out that the Russians themselves landed the drone there with electronic warfare. That's why there's such a cascading shutdown effect, 13 airports at once. The massive southern aviation cluster of the Russian Federation simply shut down. By the way, regarding those comments about how things have become anxious in Russia, everyone's waiting for some grim finale. It's noteworthy that when Russian cities weren't being hit, everyone was perfectly fine with it. Someone very aptly noted that everyone was fine with the SMO on TV, but not everyone is fine with a war in their own home. And some more comments. I have this little guilty pleasure now reading them in the morning. Please tell me honestly, is there really not a single piece of good news in Russia? I've probably never seen such a huge amount of negative content, and it's across all social media. Indeed, so what exactly is happening in Russia? Actually, if any Russian writes now, he's just sick, or I don't know, he's lost his mind, or the old man's lost his marbles, then absolutely no one will have any doubt about who it's written about. Everyone will understand perfectly well who we're talking about. And another comment, am I the only one who feels like something's about to go boom? It'll go boom, it'll go boom. Don't you worry. I don't read the news, I focus on my family and work, but for the last 4 or 5 days I've been sleeping poorly. I wake up around 4 in the morning and can't fall back asleep. It's not anxiety, not panic, it's some kind of inner intuition that seems to be warning me. Like dogs that save their owners seconds before a tragedy. Well, this looks like an anxiety disorder caused by the fact that Putin has led the country into a deep hole, but, well, I had nightmares all night that drones were bombing my house. I woke up in a cold sweat from the sound of a motorcycle and thought it was them. This is only the beginning. I told you it would only get worse from here. And, as they say, it's not just about Rostov. Putin unilaterally declared a ceasefire yesterday. He thought everyone would agree right away. Of course, you Botox jellyfish. Go ahead with your parade, we won't bother you. Well, of course, but not so fast. Besides Rostov, Ukrainian drones also hit Yaroslavl. The result of the attack on Yaroslavl is, as they say, obvious. Explosions and a fire at the Yaroslavl refinery. Local residents are happily posting footage of the fire and the aftermath of the strikes. Now, the Yaroslavl refinery is one of the largest oil refineries in Russia. Let's look at the footage. It's beautiful. It's really burning. Yeah, look over there. Once again, local authorities are claiming that some debris fell, but we understand perfectly well that it's not the Ukrainian drone that's so scary, but it's debris. The distance from the Ukrainian border to Yaroslavl is approximately 800 kilometers. But that's not all. It turns out that yesterday our valiant UAV operators took out a small Russian missile ship. They hit Kaspiysk. Someone in the comments asked me yesterday evening who or what was hit in Kaspiysk. Well, it was a small missile ship, Project 22800 Karakurt. Recently, a couple of those were hit too. Anyway, the extent of the damage is being clarified, but I think it'll be serious. 1,000 kilometers from the border, Kaspiysk. Now, the Russians will scream that they were launched from Kazakhstan again or somewhere else. But no! Our Ukrainian drones are already easily flying 1,000 kilometers, 1,500 kilometers. Soon it will be 2,000 and 2,500. You won't even be able to hide behind the Urals. Do you want to stop all this? Easy. Take back the remains of your ghouls, return the territories to Ukraine, pay reparations, and it will all end. If not, it will only get worse. By the way, friends, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. You can do it right now. We are fighting Putin's propaganda here. Let's do it together. So be sure to subscribe. For the first time in history, the Kremlin has revoked the accreditation of foreign journalists for the Victory Day parade. Der Spiegel received such a notification. Which means, in my opinion, the world has never seen such fear and panic before a parade. This year, even Russian deputies won't go to the parade because Putin is afraid of everything, that some deputy will kill him, I don't know, or bring a drone or something else. And what did the foreign journalists do wrong at the parade? Will they also bring something in their video or photo cameras? Although it seems to me that it's important for Putin that this pathetic picture of his parade isn't filmed from unfavorable angles. So that's most likely the reason. It's just a complete disgrace. The balding chupacabra has completely lost his mind from fear. They're not so much afraid of a drone strike as they are of the whole world seeing it, and how Putin will flee from his podium. So they're afraid of those shameful shots. That's why foreign journalists are not allowed at the parade. Well, of course it's just, right? There's so much fear there. Well, Ukrainian warriors continue to destroy the occupier on Ukrainian soil. In every episode, we have an important fundraiser for the defense forces of Ukraine. And in this episode, we continue the fundraiser for the Freedom of Russia Legion, which is fighting for Ukraine, a fundraiser for the repair of damaged equipment. The Legion's fighters are now fighting in almost all the hotspots. And another very important point, the Legion is not only fighting at the front, but also carrying out actions deep in the enemy's rear. The Legion commander, the legendary Caesar, recorded an appeal to you. Please listen.
Дорогой Борис Тизенгаузен, уважаемые подписчики его канала, от имени бойцов Легиона Свободы России я хочу поблагодарить вас за всю ту помощь, которую вы нам не раз оказывали. Сейчас я снова обращаюсь к вам за помощью. Нам нужны средства на ремонт наших автомобилей, нам нужны средства на закупку БПЛА. Мы будем вам очень благодарны и в этот раз. Вместе с вами мы обязательно победим. Слава Украине! Свобода России!
Let's help our fighters. Fundraiser link is in the description of this video. There's Mono and PayPal for those who want to help from abroad. And there's always a QR code in the corner in case you're watching me on another channel. It leads to the fundraiser. And yesterday, in just one evening, we closed the fundraiser for a very good man, for Victor, the commander of one of the FPV units. They are currently in the Zaporizhzhia direction. He wrote to me yesterday that it's just incredible. They didn't expect us to close the fundraiser so quickly, that you are just super people. It really is so. You are just incredible. In every episode, I give you a special thanks from myself and from hundreds of our warriors whom you've already helped. Together, we are a great force. Another piece of news from good people, we have to move on to some pretty crappy people. Fico, during his visit to Moscow, plans to deliver a message to Putin. A message from President Zelenskyy. I wonder what kind of message that is. They'll give Putin a little box with soap and a rope inside. Do it yourself, as they say, in a gift wrap. Well, in Russia, they finally came up with an explanation for why almost no foreign leaders are going to attend Putin's dull parade this year. Putin, a couple of African dictators, dozing pensioners' buddies from the CSTO. In short, Putin's team came up with an explanation. Let me quote it for you. This is what Putin's aide Ushakov stated. Moscow, it turns out, specifically did not invite foreign guests to participate in the festive events. oh, we didn't invite anyone and we didn't really want to anyway. So there's no one here, we just didn't invite them. The most interesting thing is that Russians should probably know that for visiting Putin's parade, some countries are having multi-million-dollar debts written off. That's the kind of love for Putin, for money and on call. While for the Russians themselves, there's no money, but you hang in there. And now for the most interesting part, who will actually attend Putin's high-speed parade? The Kremlin reported on which foreign leaders and politicians will visit Moscow on May 9th. There aren't many of them. I'll read them out. Badra Gunba, the leader of occupied Abkhazia. Alexander Lukashenko, well, the root vegetable is right here. Money is always needed. Thongloun Sisoulith, the president of Laos. Sultan Ibrahim, the king of Malaysia. Robert Fico is coming with a message. Alan Gagloev, the leader of occupied South Ossetia, and Sinisa Karan, a politician from the Republika Srpska. That is, he's, well, just a politician. And plus, of course, Milorad Dodik, the former president of the Republika Srpska. In short, the entire global political elite. And where is the Taliban, I ask you? Why were they not invited? Well, I gather that even Kim Jong-un did not fuel up his steam train this time, and will not be at Putin's parade. It is all quite said, though who knows? I think many from this dictatorial circle are hiding their plans to attend Putin's parade and will show up at the very last moment. Well, maybe, I do not know, they will sit off to the side in wigs, so they are not easily recognized. It is all very sad. And Zelenskyy made an address advising heads of foreign states against attending the May 9th parade in Moscow. So it turns out Zelenskyy now decides who will be at Putin's parade and who will not. And another interesting piece of news, the drone attack on Moscow in the past 24 hours was one of the largest since the start of the year, reports the propaganda outlet TASS. And what happened? It seems Ukraine was not intimidated. Can you imagine how the balding moth is fuming right now? Whoa, only one day left until his parade. He cleared everyone out, covered the stands with what? Nets, glass, whatever. Kicked out the journalists. But still, Ukraine was not intimidated. Everyone will still film everything. I have a feeling, by the way, that the main unpleasant surprise for Putin will not be at the parade itself, but during it. Well, we will see if my intuition is right. And Peskov commented on the situation regarding the exclusion of foreign journalists. Due to the current situation, the parade's coverage format has been changed, so foreign media will not be allowed on Red Square. And what kind of situation has arisen? Well, someone explain. What is this situation, huh? We just do not understand. Just curious. I feel that due to fear and paranoia, some Putin replicant, the expendable one, the least similar one, will be brought out to the parades in a glass cube. And so Russians do not worry. Everything is stable in Russia. In Russia, they released an iPhone, "We are Russians, God is with us." Well, not an iPhone, a luxury iPhone case. So, one of the luxury brands presented a limited edition iPhone for Victory Day. The model was named God is with us. The case features images of the Cathedral of Christ the Savior, St. Basil's Cathedral, a gilded Russian coat of arms, and the phrase, "We are Russians, God is with us." I think this news perfectly sums up Russia, fiercely hating the West, yet encrusting an enemy smartphone in a limited edition. Yes, of course, that is just sacred. I think Medvedev will be first in line. Hating the West, grunting under pigs, Anglo-Saxons, and so on and so forth. But a limited edition iPhone, please, he'll be obsessing over it there, my precious. Medvedev loves Western technology very much, but hates the West. Such a paradox. And another gut punch for the fans of the Russian world. In Berlin, Russian flags and Z symbolism will be banned on May 8th and 9th. At the same time, the display of Ukrainian flags will be allowed. They will ban wearing military uniforms, using insignia, as well as public displays of the letters V and Z and those St. George's, Colorado ribbons. With this news, I wanted to show how Putin has finally blown what was built over decades. Even Germany, where Putin served and which received special attention, to strike such a backhand blow right to his disgusting face. Remember those frenzied motorcades across Europe to the tune of Kalinka Malinka? That's it, it's over, there won't be any more. And how Putin used to coo with Merkel, how he was welcomed in Germany. And now he sits at his parade all alone by the mausoleum, getting ready to replace Lenin in the crystal coffin. He blew absolutely everything, absolutely everything. I think it will be the most pathetic sight at this parade, if it even takes place, of course. Well, friends, take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, subscribe to this channel, don't forget, and I'm asking you, please, let's help our warriors from the Legion. The link to the fundraiser is in the description of this video. Our help is now more necessary for them than ever. Have a peaceful day, everyone, and glory to Ukraine.